So, have you ever like felt that rush when you see a free kick just absolutely bend past the wall and into the net?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the best sights in football.
It is, right? It's one of those moments that just gets everyone on their feet.
Totally. You don't see them that often either.
No, you don't. And even when you do, you don't often see two of them in one match.
Exactly.
Which is why we're here today to break down Declan Rice's two free kick goals in that Champions League quarterfinal against Real Madrid.
It was an amazing game. 3-0 win for Arsenal.
It was, wasn't it? A huge win for Arsenal. And both those free kicks from Rice were, I mean, just incredible.
They were, and that's what's so interesting about this, right? It's not just that they were great goals, but the stats behind them and what the experts are saying about them really make this worth looking into.
It does, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're diving deep into those goals, looking at the technique, the analysis, and really trying to understand, I guess, why everyone's talking about this.
Yeah, definitely.
So to really kind of appreciate this, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand that Declan Rice had actually never scored a direct free kick before this match.
That's right. Never scored one before this.
Never. So for him to score two, I mean, that just adds another layer to this whole thing.
Definitely. And when you look at the numbers, it's crazy.
It is. What is it? Something like 0.23% chance of him scoring both of those?
Yeah, 0.23%. Or you could think of it as like a 1 in 435 chance.
1 in 435.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's just...
It's crazy. It really shows how rare it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So talk us through that first goal.
Well, it was about 58 minutes in,
Okay.
and he just curled it around the wall. Beautiful strike.
Right past Courtois as well.
Oh, yeah. Right past him. No chance.
No chance.
And the XG for that was only, 0.037.
So 3.7%. So for people who don't follow XG, that means essentially that for every 100 free kicks taken from that position, only 3 or 4 would be expected to go in.
Exactly. So you can see how unlikely it was.
Exactly. And even Rob Green, the former England goalkeeper,
Yeah.
he said that, I think his exact words were, both were impossible to save.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I mean, he'd know, right? He was a goalkeeper for how long?
Years. Top level as well.
Exactly. So for him to say that, it really kind of makes you think, wow, that must have been special.
For sure.
And he even said that for that first goal, for Real Madrid to have had any chance of stopping it, they would have needed like 3 players outside the post.
Yeah, outside the post, which he said was a farce.
It's not really practical, is it?
Not really, no.
But then he went and did it again like 12 minutes later.
Yeah, the second one was different. Top corner.
Top corner, yeah. Just perfect placement. And the XG on that was a little bit higher, but still very low.
Yeah, 0.63, so 6.3%.
6.3. And XG philosophy, they actually said that the expected shots on target figure was 0.97. So that means that basically a keeper would be expected to save it 97 times out of 100.
Yeah, pretty much.
But again, Rob Green, he was like, no, impossible to save.
Absolutely. And think about who he was up against there. Courtois, arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Oh, for sure.
And even he couldn't get near it.
And Green mentioned something about how for that second goal, Arsenal players were blocking Courtois' view.
Yeah, they got in front of the wall, so he couldn't see the ball properly until the last minute.
Which is, I mean, that's clever, isn't it? Using your own players like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's tactical.
Absolutely. But even with that, Green was still just amazed by the strike. He called it a pure strike, a thing of absolute perfection. And then he said, totally unstoppable no matter what the wall is doing.
Strong words.
And he even compared it to open play. He said that if Rice had just hit it like that in open play, it still would have gone in.
It's true. It was just one of those hits.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, because usually it's Saka, right, who takes free kicks for Arsenal.
Yeah, Saka or Odegaard.
No, Odegaard, yeah.
But Saka actually scored their last direct free kick back in October last year.
Did he really?
Yeah, but Odegaard, his last one was back in
2021.
September 2021.
Wow.
And he's had about 30 unsuccessful attempts since then.
30.
Yeah, which just shows, how difficult it is to actually score these.
It does.
And Green had an interesting point about why it might have been Rice taking these free kicks. He said it was probably because of the distance.
Oh, right. Further out.
Yeah, further out than usual. And maybe Rice has the power,
to get it there.
To get it there. Yeah. And he even said, straight up, They couldn't do what Rice did because I don't think they can kick the ball hard enough.
Talking about Saka and Odegaard.
Yeah. Talking about them, which, I mean, that's a pretty big statement.
It is, it is. But Green, he's been there, he's seen it all, so you have to kind of, take his word for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's so adamant as well that Courtois had no chance on either of them.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he dived the right way both times.
It didn't matter. They were just too good.
Too good. Yeah, and I like how Green talks about the goalkeeper side.
Oh, yeah.
So when a player scores on the side that the wall isn't protecting, there's always this question of, well, should the keeper have done better?
Always.
But Green's point was that because it was Courtois and because the strike was so good on that first one, which was on his side, nobody even thought to question him.
No one was blaming him, no.
And then the second one, again, on Courtois' side.
It's almost like he did it on purpose.
It is. And Green said that it was, and I'm quoting here, the definition of a perfect free kick.
Yeah, he said a right-footed player couldn't have hit it any better, any more power.
I mean, wow.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And it's interesting, right, how we have all these different ways of describing that top corner of the goal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Green said that his old goalkeeping coach used to call it the spider's web.
The spider's web, that's a good one.
It is, isn't it?
And in Brazil, they call it where the owls sleep.
Where the owls sleep.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's amazing. I love that.
And of course, we just call it top bins.
Yeah, top bins, much less poetic.
But it's funny how, no matter what language you speak, everyone has a way of describing that perfect shot.
They do, and it's actually becoming rarer, scoring from free kicks.
It is, yeah. The stats show that there's been a gradual decline in direct free kick goals over the years.
Which is interesting because we've had some amazing free kick takers. You think about Beckham.
Oh, yeah, Beckham.
Oh, yeah, Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, amazing free kicks.
Messi, Ward-Prowse. I mean, the list goes on.
It does, but
Yeah.
but now you don't see as many.
Yeah.
And that's what makes what Rice did even more special. Especially since he's not known for his free kicks.
Exactly. So to wrap this up, what are the big takeaways here?
Well, first off, I think the sheer improbability of it all. 2 free kicks in one game from a player who'd never scored one before, the odds were just stacked against him.
Completely stacked against him. And then you've got the experts like Rob Green saying that Courtois had absolutely no chance on either of them.
No chance, which just shows the quality of the strike.
Exactly. And we also touched on some really interesting things like, the technique, the wall, Arsenal's tactics, even the way we describe that top corner of the goal.
It all adds to the story, doesn't it?
It really does. It was just one of those moments in football where you just have to sit back and go, wow.
Yeah, pure magic.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, like, with free kick goals becoming less common, is this a sign of something changing? Are we going to see more players like Rice scoring from these distances?
Maybe. Maybe it's a new era of free kicks, or maybe it was just a one-off, a moment of brilliance that we'll never see again.
It's hard to say, but it definitely makes you think. And it just shows that in football, you never really know what's going to happen.
Absolutely anything is possible.
And that's what makes it so great.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
See you then.